I was wondering if you guys had heard of the sigh reflex. It's a double inhalation in, so, and then a long breath out. And it's a breath, if you Google it, it's a breath that restores the autonomic nervous system. It usually happens after a lot of like crying or big emotional release. And our bodies, they say that our bodies do it every so often because what happens is we get stressed, stuck in the stress response, and we don't inflate our lungs all the way. And this leads to inefficient oxygen exchange. And if you look into like Otto Warburg's work or any disease state, and look into that book Breath by James Nestor, all disease states are characterized by lots of acidity in the body and higher levels of carbon dioxide. And so this double inhalation in, I was crying a lot the other day, and I had this big release, and afterwards, throughout the whole next day as well, I kept noticing this reflex, and it felt like, I was like, let me look into this, and I just wanted to share it with you guys in case you've ever heard about it, because I just find it interesting, fascinating. Also, the cerebellum, the connection to the cerebellum. So the cerebellum is responsible for the autonomic control of our system. So it controls our muscle tone at rest and reflexes, right? So any type of reflex is cerebellum. It's like a motor response is a reflex, right? And I love the connection that the cerebellum has to the hippocampus, which is the memory center, because it obviously becomes very important to understand when you're thinking about diabetes and Alzheimer's, which Alzheimer's and dementia, which is diabetes type 3. So anything that involves the cerebellum has like got my attention because it's also responsible for glucose uptake. So anytime you have issues with, cortisol or inflammation, high blood sugar, even down to right high blood pressure, anything that can involve the stress response, which we all struggle with, this balance is involved with the cerebellum, and I just find that so beautiful. And Andrew Huberman talks about how like we can practice that breath. So I was experiencing that breath after I had cried a lot, but he talks about, and so does Wim Hof, talks about the same thing as practicing this breathing technique to help release emotions and to help restore balance. So Wim Hof, if you don't know him, his wife, from what I remember, had bipolar disorder. I think she committed suicide. And so he basically decided to dedicate his life to understanding how our breathing rate and is affected, affects our mental health and how it affects our physical health. And so he teaches people all over the world his breathing methods. And you can actually look up, he has videos on YouTube that you can breathe along with him. And I think those are so powerful. I was doing them a lot last week, and I'm going to try and continue to do them because every time I do them, I cry. And a lot of times, like, we just have, like, we experience a lot of emotions. And for me personally, like, sometimes it's hard to express these emotions, And they say sometimes, a lot of the times, that the reason that we end up getting sick or having blockages is because of the emotions that get stuck in our body. And it's okay because like society teaches us to be more like, okay, keep going, like push through this pain, blah 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 blah. And that's great, but sometimes like I'll be running or you'll be working out, and sometimes all you need to do is break down and cry. And if you just give yourself the permission to do that, and also remember that like you're just really a kid on the inside, and like when we were little, like all babies expressed themselves through tears, all babies cried, and it's okay, like it's okay to have that release. And they say we release cortisol through our tears, which is so beautiful because most of us struggle with our cortisol levels, immune systems, like autoimmune issues. You're looking at cortisol, you're looking at low testosterone, the things that we kind of always talk about, being in this beta wave frequency. This beta wave frequency is characterized by, the high beta wave frequency is characterized by a really high respiratory rate and high cortisol. And when we're stuck in that state, we don't rest as well at night, right? Like we're not able to turn off the sympathetic tone and to go into that deep state of relaxation. But that reflex and the long sighs, like they change your whole biochemistry. I just think that's beautiful. Like, I think when I was younger, I was looking for nuggets of hope and like learning about the breath and learning that there's alternate ways. Like you can go and do the exercise, but if that seems like too much to you, you can also do the breathing. And there are just other ways that you can do. You don't have to run, you can walk. You can go into the sunlight and scoop up some vitamin D. And vitamin D is low in all disease states too. So it's so beautiful. The options that we have, and then like the ways that we can simplify getting into a more regulated state. So anyway, the last thing I was really thinking about was I hope that you go tell the people that you love how much you love them, and I'm really just telling myself this. I think I'm telling the younger version of myself this, but if I could tell my 18-year-old self one thing, it would be to never regret the love that you give someone, because I think I've struggled with that in the past, is feeling like I gave too much. But you have so much love in your heart, and the more you connect with your body, you just, you feel that joy, you feel that balance and that peace, and it like allows you to give more of who you are, and never regret that. And yeah, I'm gonna go, but I love you so much. You're so beautiful, intelligent. You don't see yourself properly, don't see yourself clearly. We don't. And if you don't like what you see out in the world or in the mirror, just close your eyes and remember that you are like a little ball of sunshine, and to let yourself extend that and to not be in a state of contraction. So I love you so much, and I wish you the best of luck.